So the rich became dominant again. They started pushing back against labor. They started pushing and getting income taxes much lower on themselves. And what ends up happening is, pretty soon, remember I said income had been 22% in the hands of the rich back in the 20s, and then it drops down to about 7 or 8%. By 2000, with the Bush tax cut and everything, you start to see that same level of income concentration that you had back in the 20s, leading to that 2008 stock market crash. By the way, you see the same pattern in Canada. It's not quite as extreme, but it's the same pattern. 20s, then change in the post-war period, and then back extreme again. In fact, well, actually, let me ask you this. Does anybody, do you know how many billionaires are in Canada today? Anybody know? How many billionaires, Canadian billionaires? Four? Actually, there's 55. But here's an important point. I want to point out to you that how much this has changed, okay? And one way I think I'm going to do this is I'm going to describe what I call an income parade, okay? It's an imaginary parade. Everybody in the country, everybody in Canada is going to participate in this parade. It's going to take 1 hour, and the whole country is going to march past us in the space of 1 hour, okay? So they're going to have to march very quickly. And their size in the parade is going to be determined, like their height in the parade is going to be determined by their income, okay? With the shortest people having the smallest income up to the tallest people having the tallest income. Okay. And the shortest people will be at the front and will eventually get to the tallest, the richest people at the end of the parade, okay? Okay. Now what I'm going to do, because I want to illustrate to you how much things have changed. I'm going to first do this income parade as I did it, in fact, back in the early 80s, okay, for a book I did earlier. And you'll see, I mean, it's quite a story. By the way, this is a concept I borrowed from a Dutch statistician by the name of Jan Penn. He developed the idea and I applied it to Canada. Okay, and what he calls the parade, because what you'll find, as soon as we get the parade going, the striking thing about it is how short everybody is. In other words, how low the income levels are, okay? And in fact, he called the parade a parade of dwarves and a few giants, and that is very much what it looks like. Okay, so the Canadian income parade, okay, this is going back to the early 80s. Okay, so it's been going on for 6 minutes, and all we see are people about a foot high. I'm just going to take you through this really quickly. About 15 minutes, they get up to about 3 feet. By halfway, 30 minutes, they're up to about 4 feet. It's not until about 42 minutes in that we reach average height, typical height, like the rest of us. And that reflects the average income, okay? Average income, which is worked out by taking all the people in the country and dividing, like all the income is dividing by the number of people in the country. But okay, so it's really, so you have these really pretty short people, very, very short, gradually getting to normal height, only almost 3/4 of the way through the parade, okay? But it's what happens at the end of the parade that becomes dramatic. After 50 minutes, with 10 minutes left, we see people about 7 to 10 feet tall, okay? And then in the last minute, they really spurred up. You see people 30 feet tall. But it's the last few seconds where we see how dramatically some people have so much more money than others. Okay, so in this 1980s parade, we see, for instance, we can see the CEO of Texaco. There he is, he had an income of $538,000, he's 75 feet tall. Look at that compared to the little people in the rest of the parade. Then there's Edgar Bronfman. He had an income of $1.8 million, he's 257 feet tall. And then finally we see the tallest man in the country, the richest, the guy with the biggest income in the country, Frank Stronach, $2.2 million, standing 314 feet tall. Compared to all these other little people. 314 feet tall, by the way, that's about a fifth of the height of the CN Tower, okay? Okay, so that's that parade. Now I want to do the exact same parade how much things have changed. And by the way, these numbers are adjusted for inflation. So it's not just that, you know, there's been a lot of inflation. Okay, so we're going to do the same parade. And what we notice immediately is that the parade, I mean, except for the fact that everybody now has a cell phone and is texting messages and stuff, the parade looks pretty much the same as it did back in the early 80s. In fact, for the first 50 minutes, there's really almost no difference. And what that tells you is that there's been almost no increase, no change in the relative position, like how well these people, most of society, are doing. In fact, there's been almost no income growth whatsoever for the vast majority of people. Once you factor out inflation, we're pretty much exactly the same as where we were in the 1980s. But get to the end of the parade, and we see some huge differences, okay? So, for instance, in the in the last few seconds of this is the current parade, we see there's the head of Imperial Oil, $13 million in income, and remember I mentioned Frank Stronach was the tallest guy in the other parade, you know, back in the early 80s. This guy is 6 times as tall as Frank Stronach. 6 times as tall. That's how much income growth there has been at the very top. Paul Desmarais, 29 million, he's 14 times as tall as Frank Stronach. Robert Milton, who's the head of Air Canada, and this is in retirement, he had an income of 42 million, which is 21 times as high as Frank Stronach. Mike Lazarus, who's one of the CEOs of RIM, with an income of 51 million, he is 25 times taller than Frank Stronach. In other words, that's how much more the rich, how much growth there's been in the incomes of the very rich, while the rest of us just stay the same. In fact, I mentioned Frank Stronach is 1/5 of the height of the CN Tower. Well, to get a look at Mike Lazarus, the tallest guy now, the richest guy now, you'd have to be on the deck of the CN Tower, and then you'd only be able to see a little bit below his knee. Okay? So you get a sense of how, in fact, dramatically things have grown. I'll just tell you quickly, because I'm running out of time here, but it's even more dramatic if you do the U.S. income parade. In that case, you know, you end up with like Tiger Woods, 100 million. He's twice as tall as that Mike Lazarus guy. You know, and then the very tallest guy in the U.S. income parade is this guy John Paulson, who's a hedge fund manager. He figured out the subprime mortgage problem, but he didn't tell anyone. Instead, he just invested. He bet against the subprime mortgage market. And when it collapsed, he made $3.7 billion that year. So I think he holds the record maybe for all time of profiting from the misery of others. Well, he stands 110 miles high, okay? In fact, high-flying planes would be about chest level to him. And his head is well into outer space. Okay, so anyway, that gives you a sense of the extreme nature of income inequality. Now, of course, the justification for this is that we kind of have to have this because we need to motivate people, right? We need to motivate people to do their best performance, and you know, the only way we can do this is by throwing huge amounts of money at them, right? That otherwise they won't perform properly. Well, I just want to toss out some query about that, because I would argue that in fact there's no evidence that they're performing any better now. That the people that we have examples of how disastrous things have been in the financial system and also in the corporate world. Corporate profits are considerably down from where they were when things were much more egalitarian.